Peter Plexley's here. Very good morning to you, sir.
Great to see you,
Welcome
Mike.
back from your mission abroad.
Thank you very much. Yes, nearly 3 weeks in Botswana in
Very
Southern
nice
Africa.
too. What was the food like there?
I got used to it eventually.
Did you?
Yeah. It all came as a bit of a shock. During the day,
Yeah.
we'd have canteen food.
Right.
And it was very much local. Botswana's very proud of its beef.
What's the local dish?
Well, when we'd queue up at lunchtime, there'd generally be rice,
Right.
or there'd maybe be pasta,
Okay.
some form of vegetable,
Yeah.
and then chicken or beef.
Like a stew, that kind of thing?
Yes, kind of. The chicken obviously was all on the bone.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a shock to the old palate to start with, but by the second week I was into it and needed plenty of fuel on board because they were long, challenging days.
Yeah.
And I ended up thoroughly enjoying it, and it was one heck of an experience.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Right, well, listen, back to the world of what I was going to call reality, but it's the 1st of April, and as I say, normally you would expect people to be performing April Fool's jokes. We don't do April Fool's jokes on this show. We just don't. It's just boring, it's ridiculous, it's repetitive. It's the sort of thing that public school boys do. So The Guardian's probably got a story somewhere about some April Fool, and The Independent will probably have it as well, but we're not doing it here, because the stories, quite frankly, for Awful April are absolutely awful. You know, council tax is up, water rates are up, basically, you know, everything, energy prices are up, food prices are up, there's nothing that's going down. Car tax is up, you probably doubled on your car from what it was last year. And on page 4 of the Daily Mail this morning, hospitality is absolutely dreading what is going to happen over the course of the next few weeks and months, because they're worried that people are going to go out of business.
Well, I shall park my very well thought out April Fool's gag that I was going to perform on you and the audience this morning then, because that's a very stern lecture.
Yeah, I don't care, because honestly, I don't do April Fool. I just don't think it's worth doing, honestly.
It would have been hysterical,
okay.
but anyway.
All right,
not to worry, moving on.
Save it for Plank of the Week. You know, maybe it'll work for there. But hospitality braces for £3.4 billion of a hit from national insurance and wage rises, which is basically going to mean an awful lot of pubs, restaurants, other hospitality businesses are going to go out of business.
And it's today that the national insurance hike takes effect.
It is.
And it is going to be utterly crippling for so many businesses. And if you look, I love a pub. I've done all my life. Sadly, of course, shrinking numbers, and this national insurance hike and the minimum wage hike is not going to help. And of course, the face of pubs is changing so much, how they do their business. Try finding a pub down south where you can walk in with a few pound notes in your pocket, tenors, £20, and order a pint over the bar. It's becoming a thing of the past. And so many kind of government initiatives, laws, rules, call them what you will, are hitting the very fabric of Britain, which is the local boozer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And consequently, they're just dying and disappearing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I found a situation, I don't find it so hard to spend actual cash money, but what I do find astonishing in London is that you find yourself standing at a bar and people going, you can't stand there. And you go, what do you mean you can't stand there? Well, there's a queue. You've got to stand behind the guy who's standing, waiting to be served. And in fact, this happened to me and my boss on Thursday. We were in a pub not far from here. And this guy asked us to move away from the bar. I said, no, this is where I'm standing. I bought my drink, I'm standing here. And he's like, well, people can't get past you to order. And I said, well, that's their problem. They've got to get around me. That's what happens. That's the way bars work. You stand there, a guy goes around to the right of you, or he comes in between you. That's how it works.
Well, of course, unfortunately, in recent years, the role of bar staff has been degraded.
Yes.
Back in the day, the governor of any pub you would walk into, or his staff, would know who was next to be served.
Right.
You didn't have to form a queue.
No.
The brilliant bar staff knew it.
They just saw you and went, you're next.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you happen to move up to the bar and somebody was already waiting, and by mistake they came to you, of course, good British manners.
You go, no, he's first.
He's first.
He's before me, exactly right. You didn't need to have rules, you didn't need to have it written down. It's like our constitution. You didn't need somebody to say, oh no, you've got to refer to this list of things that I've got to do here, which is the country we are now in. Let's talk about deportations, let's talk about migrants. The front page of The Sun today has got Soft Touch UK taking us for fools. Basically, migrants are boasting about being now put up into taxpayer-funded hotels as bills paid paid by millions of Brits rocket. Two men posted a TikTok video with Albanian captions in a room after paying £3,000 to cross the channel. Let's have a look at what Keir Starmer says about people smugglers.
My message to people smugglers is this. We're breaking your business model and leaving you nowhere to hide. We're working with law enforcement partners across the world to freeze your assets, to ban your travel, and put you behind bars. When I was this country's chief prosecutor, I locked up terrorists who plotted to blow up planes across the Atlantic. Now I'm going after the criminals who put people on small boats across the Channel. We're boosting enforcement with a new Border Security Command. We're giving the police more power to stop smugglers in their tracks. And we're making sure no one can profit from this vile trade. Since the election, this government has returned over 20,000 people who have no right to be here. And we aren't going to stop. Returns will continue to increase. My plan for change will save lives, secure our borders, and smash the gangs for good.
Yeah, who do you think he's talking to? I see he's doing his bit for net zero there, by the way, by not putting the lights on, sitting there in the dark. Well done, Ed Miliband. We're very pleased for you. Does he realise that actually people who run what you might regard as human trafficking rings, smuggling gangs, you know, cocaine running organisations aren't actually that bothered when you tell them that you're coming after them? They're breaking the law because they already know that.
This government has smashed more avocados than it has gangs. Seriously, right?
I wouldn't even bet that he could do that, to be honest.
No, and I just have to say, when he talks about prosecuting people that wanted to bring down airplanes, a great mate of mine was working for the security services on a surveillance team, and he followed the suspect, and consequently my mate identified the bomb factory in East London where they were making all those things, and it remains a matter of great pride that he's my mate, and he did save literally thousands of lives by doing his job brilliantly that day all those years ago. But anyway, back to blah 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 Starmer, right? It's the same old nonsense. He frightens no one.
So no how's he going to make sure that no one profits from this vile abuse? How's he going to do that?
Yeah, exactly. It's just complete nonsense.
Isn't it? Rubbish.
Yeah. And when he talked about, not in that clip, but in other clips about when he prosecuted the war on drugs, oh yeah, well how did that end up? Yeah. Right, a war that cannot and will not ever be won.
Right.
And the gang thing, it's just, I feel the frustration and the irritation, and I think there's people out there shouting at their radios, or if they're watching online this morning, because this illegal migration problem is not going away, and it's ludicrous. Why can governments not do something about rigid inflatable boats, dinghies, that are coming across the English Channel? Why can they not stop that?
Because they don't want to, is the straight answer. Because they don't know how they can say that they're doing it without upsetting a few people that they like to have dinner with. Let's have a look at what Number 10 have said about deportations, because I'm going to come back to you on this one and say to you that this number of deportations they keep claiming is, like, you know, higher than ever. It's the same number they gave us about 3 months ago. Check it out. It's all absolute cobblers. I'm sorry. I mean, it's performative nonsense, right? They're claiming that they've got rid of 19,000 people, but it's the same figure that they gave us 3 months ago. It's the same figure they keep repeating. So they're not actually continuing to deport people. And of those 19,000 people, only less than 4,000 of them are foreign criminals. The rest of them are people who've volunteered to go back, who may or may not have even been paid to go back. So the whole thing is a crock of BS, I'm afraid.
If it was 4 flights an hour of all those foreign criminals banged up in our prisons, then I might say fair play.
Yeah, good on you. Yeah, rounding some people up off the streets of London, Manchester, Birmingham, Bradford, Rochdale, Blackburn, you know, Glasgow, Edinburgh. Great. Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
And keep the list going.
But they're not doing it.
And they were handcuffed behind their backs, and they were being marched onto planes. They had no right to be here. Yeah. They'd come in foreign boats.
Having their heads shaved like they do in El Salvador.
Yeah, they'd come in boats like yesterday. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. And if all those were being frog marched straight onto planes and flown to goodness knows where, as long as it wasn't in the UK, then I'd go credit where it's due. Yeah. But it isn't that.
No, it's not that.
It's just not that at all.
Right. And there's more people, in fact, coming than ever. And he said yesterday they had this ridiculous migrant summit of all of these, Home Secretaries from around the world who came to London for this meeting, which lasted about 15 minutes. And they basically said, we are absolutely ratcheting up our belief in what we're doing. We are deporting more people than ever. It's beginning to work. It's not beginning to work at all. There's more people have come here. 6,000 people have come here this year alone. Which is 40% up on what it was last year. So, I mean, they're lying to us.
I bet the buffet.
I'm sorry.
I bet the buffet was lovely.
I'm sure it was really good. Yeah, down in Downing Street. Here's a rise in average annual household family bills. Right, broadband bills. This is up on average since today has begun, April the 1st. Broadband bills up 36%. Phone bills up, £36. Phone bills up £46. TV licence has gone up by £5. Nursery fees, if you happen to have kids in nursery, up £756. Energy bills up £111. Council tax up £109. Water bills up £123. Car tax doubles for whatever car you've got, unless you've got an electric car, in which case it's £10, when it used to be nothing, but next year it's going to be more. And if you've got a Tesla, you're going to be paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds as well. The whole thing is at £4,500. The Sun is saying basically families in Britain are facing £4,500 jump in bills from today as living standards are squeezed. I mean, that's the reality. That's the April Fool's joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's the joke that they're perpetrating on the good people of this country. Absolute scumbags.
And we haven't even gone anywhere near the cost of things in the supermarket, for example.
No.
And now if we rewind 3 or 4 years, when we had rampant inflation at 11%.
Yes.
If a government turns around and says, well, we've got inflation down to 2%, that is still 2% of what now is 120% of what it was 3 years ago.
Exactly.
So it's extortionate, and everything is so shockingly expensive. Whatever you're going for.
Yeah.
Putting petrol in the car, going for a haircut.
Right.
Buying a sandwich.
Go for a curry
go
now.
to work.
Costs hundreds of pounds. It used to cost like £50 to go for a curry on a Friday night. It's now costing you in excess of £100 for 2 people.
It's shockingly expensive. Everything is expensive.
Yeah.
Wages are squeezed.
Yeah.
People are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
This country, I'm afraid, is a mess.
It's on its knees, isn't it?
It really is.
And we need to bring it up from its knees. Well, I still believe, as I say all the time, as much as I wrestle and rail against these horrible, horrible, ghastly people in government, we are still a great country. We are still capable of saving it, but we've got to get them out. We've got to get them out in order to renew this place that we call home.
And there has to be a huge mindset shift in public services, for example.
Yeah.
And we're going to get on to talk about local councils and the like, where there is an absolute mission creep, a very, very intolerant DEI, diversity, equality and inclusion stuff. It's like a mafia has taken hold of so much of the public services
and these are not even
and private companies.
And these are not necessarily party political people. These are people who run the councils as their job. Professional civil servants, basically, who are paid in excess of 6 figures to run councils basically into the ground.
And they are woke and liberal and leftist and intolerant and nasty.
And well paid.
Yes, and woe betide anybody who wants to stand up to them.
Yeah.
And we frequently see articles in the newspapers about people who have done exactly that and find themselves being pilloried, punished and ostracised as a result. Because, say, for example, you don't want your school teaching a certain particular faith or some certain sex ideology and all that kind of nonsense. Stand up to it and down they come on you like a ton of bricks. This country needs a fundamental reset.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of the plague of laziness, which absolutely pollutes so much of the public services and local council employees. And I hear examples of this crippling, rampant, unforgivable laziness where people go into the civil service, local council employees, and they're in it for what they can get, not what they can give, not how they can make a difference, not how they can serve the public, just what they can take. And it's endemic throughout the country. We need a reset. We need a nation builder from somewhere who's going to stand up and say, this was a once great nation, we can get it back to what it was, but we need a reset. Cut waste, cut laziness, do your job, have some pride, earn your money, put your shoulders back, put your chest out, be British, and let's do it for this country.
That's a very, very good message. That's the best message I've heard for April the 1st. That's exactly how we're going to go forward. It's awful April. People's taxes are going up. People's bills are going up all the way.